Hi, Ben Kingsley here. In this how-to session, I want to focus in on being careful about some property promoters and the way in which they exaggerate or potentially mislead you around the investment returns they've got for previous clients. Now, I'm talking about some of these claims where they're quoting in excess of 30% returns in a 12-month period. Now, they sound interesting. You know, they're trying to attract you in by that such a big and wonderful number. But the reality is that they may be dealing in a lot of different marketplaces with a lot of different stock, and not everyone is enjoying those types of returns. You know, great businesses normally don't spruik their wares around these mega returns, and they have independent assessment and analysis of the results they've been able to achieve, as opposed to sort of saying, for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, we bought this property here and 18 months later, it's 30% more than what we paid for it. But what about the Joneses and the Wongs and everyone else that they're bought for in different locations? How well have they performed? Because ultimately, you know, it's still a fundamental case of supply and demand and owner-occupier appeal that we're looking for to get the best returns possible. So if you are interested in learning more about these types of promoters, what do you need to do when you sit down with them? Well, there's a couple of things you need to do. Firstly, you need to ask them straightforward and direct questions about their claims. How are they validating their claims? Can they show the last 50 purchases that they made? Or, you know, 4 years ago, what were they buying and where were they buying and what have been the investment returns for those clients? Because it's no good in just looking at the last 12 months. I mean, ideally, we in our business, start to assess returns after around 5 years. So it's been given that cycle of the market to be able to move through. I mean, anyone who bought in the Sydney market 18 months ago has certainly enjoyed a real uplift. So was it anything to do with their research, or was it just the rising tide lifting all ships? That's the question you want to ask. In addition to that, don't be afraid to do some independent research. So get onto some of the property forums that are out there, such as Property Chat or, you know, propertyinvestor.com, and have a look through those forums to see if there's any conversations around that particular company. Now, you may not find what you're looking for, because some of these companies get their legal people to actually get negative comments removed from those types of forums as well. So it's really important that you continue to keep investigating and doing your due diligence. Because the reality is that if often it's quoted as too good to be true, the reality is it more than likely is too good to be true. And you will be able to unpack that. A great professional company should be able to validate their research in detail. They should be able to make sure that they're providing a solution based on your needs and your personal goals, not on what they can get off the shelf or not from the stock list that they're offering you. They should be tailoring that solution to your cash flows and your financial circumstances. And you know when you've got a good one. The way in which you know that they're not deflecting the questions, they're answering them as honest and as transparent as they possibly can. And usually they're very transparent about how they're being paid. You know, and we have other videos on property spruikers and some of their tricks and tactics. But because we operate in an unregulated industry, which means there's no laws in stopping these promoters from making these claims, these exaggerated claims, I think they're misleading and deceptive, and that's why I wanted to put this how-to video together. So remember, it all comes down to doing your due diligence about the professionals that you want to work with and running through that checklist and making those investigations, and you should come out the other side with the right type of professional company and the right type of advisor who can help you with your dreams. Thanks for watching.